How's it going, everybody? This is Anthony Miranda with the Firearms Policy Coalition. Today I want to bring to your attention the filing of an important brief by FPC in the case of Americans for Prosperity Foundation v. Becerra, currently before the Supreme Court of the United States. This case involves whether the state of California may demand that every nonprofit organization that solicits funds in California must hand over an unredacted form that contains the names and addresses of all donors who give $5,000 or more to the organization in a year. For those of you who donate to FPC and other pro-Constitution organizations, your ears probably just perked up. Americans for Prosperity is a grassroots nonprofit which opposed handing over the unredacted form and therefore instituted this lawsuit against the state of California. The case made it to the Ninth Circuit, and at this level, the Ninth held that California's requirement did not infringe on the otherwise anonymous donor's right to associate freely under the First Amendment. The Ninth Circuit made this determination despite the evidence that California had accidentally made hundreds of donations public, and that Americans for Prosperity donors had, in the past, been subject to harassment because of their affiliation with the organization. The question before the Supreme Court in this case is whether the scrutiny the Supreme Court has long required of laws that abridge freedom of speech and association outside the election context can be satisfied absent any showing that a blanket governmental demand for the individual identities and addresses of major donors to private nonprofit organizations is narrowly tailored to an asserted law enforcement interest. In FPC's brief, we argue that the Constitution protects the right to private, anonymous association, which can be overcome only by a government interest that is both compelling and narrowly tailored. The desire to remain anonymous in your political activity is a time-honored practice which must be honored despite what the state of California wants. Here, the government has not met the burden to overcome the presumption of associational privacy. The record shows that California has no need to compel donor information since the state has effectively managed to prevent and prosecute charitable fraud for years before this new demand. Furthermore, if the state needed donor identifying information, an audit letter or subpoena would suffice instead of this blanket request. FPC also argues that requiring these groups to demonstrate factual threats against their members would also run contrary to the history and meaning of the First Amendment, and it would be fundamentally unworkable. Many organizations simply will not have the evidence available or the institutional means to demonstrate such a requirement. Also, many people and organizations do not fear backlash, but instead simply want to keep their coworkers or friends from knowing their political spending habits, which seems absolutely reasonable. The Supreme Court's precedent is clear that no matter the level of judicial scrutiny, state actions that infringe on your First Amendment freedoms, like compelled disclosure of donor lists, must be narrowly tailored to the government's asserted interest. The Ninth Circuit misconstrued the Supreme Court's precedents, ignored the question of fit, and gave California free rein to demand donor information for any charity in the nation that operated in the state. Plainly, the Ninth Circuit got this very wrong. This brief was filed along with groups such as the Cato Institute, Reason Foundation, and Mountain States Legal Foundation. It was co-authored by FPC's Director of Constitutional Studies, Joseph Greenlee, and is available for you to read at fpclegal.org. So if you believe the state of California should not be able to request your private information from nonprofits you donate to in violation of your First Amendment rights, head on over to joinfpc.org and join us in the fight against this infringement and other similar infringements. Your donations go directly to helping our team file cases and briefs of this nature. Once again, this is Anthony Miranda with the Firearms Policy Coalition. I'll see you guys next time.